assuming so.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, welcome to the South River Board of Education regular meeting of Monday, November 25th, 2024. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975 of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On January 17, 2024, notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On January 17, 2024, the notice was faxed mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune, The Star Ledger. On January 17th, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Mr. Rosa, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Bazak.
Here.
Mr. Budson.
Here.
Mrs. Bush.
Mrs. Bush will be arriving late.
Mrs. Byrne.
Here.
Mrs. Lau.
Here.
Mr. Nielsen.
Here.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Here.
Mrs. Young Yao.
Here.
Mrs. Urbanik.
Here.
Calvin Samiti.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Board members, the first item on our agenda is item number 2 under minutes. We have the minutes from October 17th, special meeting and regular meeting. What is your pleasure on the minutes?
Move the reading of the minutes into the public record.
Motion by Vice President Nielsen,
Second.
second by Ms. Lell. Any questions on the minutes, comments? All in favor? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is our use of facilities. Mr. Rosa?
No additional items from a pre-meeting.
Thank you. Board members, what is your pleasure on the use of facilities request?
Move the use of facilities in accordance with board policies.
Motion by Vice President Nielsen,
Second.
second by Ms. Sadowski. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. At this time, we are going to go to Ms. Lell for the financial report.
Thank you very much. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer of School Monies for August 2024 and September 2024 be approved, and I so move.
We have a motion by Ms. Lell,
Second.
second by Ms. Sadowski. Any questions with the financial report? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Please let the record show that Mrs. Bush has arrived. And before we do our superintendent's report, the board is going to take a 5-minute recess to take care of some yearbook business. So,
It's in the back.
and then we'll get together for our, okay, what did I just do? I just pulled my from our little recess, and we are going to move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Zurcher.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Urbani. So I have several items on my report today. The board will be approving several field trips on this board agenda. Once again, including the fifth grade outdoor education trip, which we brought back last year. So we are really making an effort to give our students opportunities, of course, in the district, but also outside of the district where they can learn just really from hands-on experiences. We have several school events that have been taking place and that are also coming up. We just had the literacy night at the primary school. It was a big hit. There were fishing. There was a fishing bridge for stories. There were s'mores. It was a great event. We had an author on site. It was really a very well-attended event, very exciting. We also have an upcoming Macy's Day type parade that's taking place. We just had Career Day. So lots going on in all of our schools, but especially the ELC, the primary and the elementary schools, which are making a great effort to bring parents in and to collaborate with parents to host all of these events. We have a new program beginning in December. We're calling it the Chance Light program. And through this program, we're able to provide very high-risk students with temporary or long-term instruction, but also with intensive mental health support services. So this program is for a very specific student who has a very unique need, but it will be here on campus. And in order to enter into this program, because it is an alternative educational program, students may enter through a superintendent's referral only. We do have a link and a flyer about the program on our district website. Budget season is upon us for the 25-26 school year. Our teachers have been engaging in activities such as committees to select instructional resources for the upcoming school year. The most recent committee that has gotten together has been our elementary and primary school group to select a new literacy program to be placed in the 25-26 school year budget. But in addition to that, we are looking at what resources we need in safety and security, what ongoing maintenance we need, any updating of facilities, and our public budget hearing will take place in the spring. Community members are invited to attend that hearing and to provide their feedback. For any other recommendations, we do ask you to please contact our Assistant Business Administrator, Camilla Miazio, and I've provided her email here. And I reported last month on our new residency office. We are really working towards ensuring that the students attending our schools legitimately live in South River and have domicile in South River. And we have a residency office who has been investigating any potential issues or cases where this might not be the case. I've included her contact information here in the event that any community member feels the need to report any sort of issue that they'd like us to look into. But to date, that residency office has been hard at work confirming addresses and working with the borough to make sure that students are living in proper living conditions and legitimately in the township as well. Also, on this month's report, you will see that we have our CUSAC self-assessment. That was completed by a committee in the district. And this is a precursor to our CUSAC evaluation from the state. It covers a variety of areas from finance to human resources, instruction and programs. And what we do first is self-assess where that committee feels we are performing in those areas. We submit that self-assessment to the county superintendent's office. It's on the agenda for your review and approval tonight. And we will submit that shortly after. And also we have a confirmed HIB on this month's superintendent's report that was added just recently to the agenda. And with that, I want to wish all of our families a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And so concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Zurcher. Do the board members have any questions or comments regarding the report or the CUSAC performance review?
No.
Okay, those two items will be under our consent resolution. Next item on our agenda is the reception of visitors. At this time, the public may address agenda items only. There will be an opportunity later in the meeting for anyone in the public to address matters for the Board of Education that are not on this agenda. If you come to the microphone, please state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. And this will be the first call, and the second call, and the third call for public comment. We're going to close this public comment, and we're going to go to our consent resolution. Mr. Rosa.
The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopted various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. And whereas the below-listed resolutions are hereby adopted by the said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon. And those are, under Superintendent of Schools, 3.1 through 3.3, under Finance, 8.1 through 8.21, under Instruction, 9.1 through 9.9, under Negotiations, 10.1, under Policy and Legislation, 11.1, under Human Resources, 12.1 through 12.17, under Safety and Risk Management, 13.1 through 13.2.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the consent resolution?
Nielsen, move the consent resolution.
There's a motion by Vice President Nielsen. Second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Byrne. Are there any questions on anything under the consent resolution? Does anyone need any of them read separate or abstain on any of those? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Going to go to our committee reports, athletics and extracurricular. Mr. Budzen.
There's nothing on the agenda. I'd like to congratulate the football team on their 600th win, and also congratulate senior baseball players Julian Rosado and James Zoris for their early signing, for one to Rutgers and one to Middlesex County College. That's all I have.
Thank you. Vice President Nielsen, Buildings and Grounds, please.
Nothing to report tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Under Finance, Ms. Lau.
I'd like to read a small summary and then my statement. So the agenda includes the approval and acceptance of multiple grants, contracts, and services and subsequent for this school year and subsequent school years. Items cover funding for 21st Century Community Learning Centers, supplemental support, various related activities such as photography, yearbook production, student activity accounts, contracts for staffing, maintenance, equipment, and facility enhancements are included as well. Additional approvals include budget adjustments, TAC requisitions, and quotes for uniforms and electrical services. So the Finance Committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of the items 8.1 through 8.19 with additional items 8.20 through 8.21 on the agenda as listed, including routine items. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Our Instruction Committee report, Ms. Bush.
Sure. I'm going to give an update from Dr. Travisano's monthly report, and then I will read my items into record. This month focused on analyzing data from the NJSLA and the NJ GPA assessments. Teacher leaders received 3-year analysis to identify key standards and students' areas of struggle. This data will be used for planning and assessment purposes throughout the year. Will be used in conjunction with Linkit for ongoing student evaluations. The high school is currently reviewing its course offerings for the 25-26 school year, analyzing trends and student interest to finalize offerings for next year. A committee is also exploring, and I think Dr. Zurcher mentioned this, 2 literacy programs that will be piloted in the 25-26 school year, so we have a committee working on that. And professional development continues to support our multi-language learners and providing social emotional learning to students in all levels. Now, the Instruction Committee, after review of the items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends the approval of items 9.1 through 9.9 with no additional items on the agenda as listed, including routine items. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Under negotiations, we do have one item, and the negotiation committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda, and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of the item 10.1 with no additional items on the agenda as listed, including routine items. Thank you. Policy and legislation, Ms. Byrne.
Thank you. The Policy and Legislation Committee, after review of all the items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of the item 11.1 with no additional items on the agenda as listed, including routine items. That's all.
Thank you. Human Resources, Mr. Bazak.
Thank you, Ms. Urbanic. The Human Resources Committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of the items 12.1 through 12.15 with additional items 12.16 through 12.17 on the agenda as listed, including routine items.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next committee report is our Safety and Risk Management, Ms. Sadowski.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanic. The Safety and Risk Management Committee, after review of all items on this month's agenda and upon recommendation of the superintendent, recommends approval of item 13.1 with additional item 13.2 on the agenda as listed, including routine items. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to turn to Ms. Young Yao now for our School Community Relations.
There are no items on the agenda this evening.
Okay. Thank you. Our School Board Borough Council Liaison Committee, Vice President Nielsen, please.
Nothing to report. Mr. Tazemian is in the audience again tonight. He did he did tell at his meeting of what Mr. Buzen alluded to before, and I just want to know, you going to walk this year in the parade?
Yeah.
Macy's?
Marshall is the balloon.
There you go. He marches in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade every year. So here you call for rain, so dress appropriately. And that's all I have tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Our PTA Liaison, Ms. Sadowski.
Thank you. For primary and the ELC, as Dr. Zercher mentioned, Family Literacy Night occurred last Friday night. It was very well attended. It was very successful. They believe they would like to thank the library because they also came out and they helped. So there are also a couple fundraisers going on for primary and ELC. They're selling bundt cakes for the holidays, and I believe that the sale ends tomorrow. They're also selling holiday gift boxes, which I believe has, they have like a little reindeer stuffed animal and reindeer headband. It's really cute. Elementary school, their Halloween dance took place on November 1st. And the Christmas shop will be open next week from December 3rd to December 6th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Our South River Public Library Liaison, Mr. Budzin.
The adult yoga class continues on Monday at 4 p.m. Thanksgiving Craft-a-thon will be Tuesday, November 26th at 4 p.m. The adults craft will be December 3rd at 6 p.m. Holiday concerts, Sound of the Season, will be December 7th at 3 p.m. Gingerbread making will be December 10th at 6 p.m. And Santa is visiting the library on December 19th at 6:30 p.m. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now to our Student Board Representative, Calvin Samidi.
The South River High School Future Business Leaders of America is hosting a food drive starting November 25th until Christmas break to help feed those in need and less fortunate during the harsh winter. The National Honor Society will be hosting the annual Breakfast with Santa on Saturday, December 5th. Julius Rosado, class of 2025, recently signed with the Rutgers baseball team. There was a recent issue with one of the AP courses where the students were complaining that there wasn't any teaching being done, but it's all resolved now because it's being taught by one of the other biology teachers. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. That's a lot. Okay, next is our old or new business. Anything to come before the board this evening? And Mr. Parton, do you have an attorney's report for us?
Only for executive session.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move to payment of the bills. Ms. Lau.
I'm getting there. There I am. The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented, having been certified by the School Business Administrator Board Secretary, be paid as listed, and I so move.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Lowe,
Second?
second by Mrs. Sadowski. Any questions on the bills? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, as promised, at this time, we are now going to open up the meeting once again to the public, and the public may address any concern or comment that they have for the board. Please state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. This will be on first call, and on second call, and on third call. So this public portion is closed. At this time, the board is going to go into executive session. So be it resolved that pursuant to Section 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, the following subjects be discussed at a session of the Board of Education closed to the public. And those items are attorney-client privilege, negotiations, and personnel. It is presently anticipated that the items to be discussed in closed session can be disclosed to the public when resolved. Is there a motion?
Nielsen.
Motion by Vice President Nielsen,
Second.
second by Mrs. Bush. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now in executive session. I'm going to
Here you go.
ask the
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
attendants to please depart from the room. Thank you. And whoever's the last one out, if you could close the door.